ring can enslave the minds of men. We must hold to our purpose, no matter what the cost.
One of the big releases of this week, and that was Shadow of War.
We're walking into Mordor.
You don't really walk into Mordor, you kind of just explore the region.
You're in Mordor.
Yeah, you're in the section, yeah. So, you've played significantly less than me. You tell me about like 2 hours? Or
2 hours, 9 minutes, yeah. You feel?
Which is still enough to at least have some back and forth between what I've been experiencing and what you've been experiencing. But the way I would describe this game, and for me at least, it's been very positive, and that is, it is Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor 2.0. Like, everything about this game is just better than the first one.
As a lot of people expected it would be, yeah.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's got this finicky things. Like, a good example was, off my head, Star Wars Force Awakens. Not Force Awakens, Force Unleashed. One was good. Second one, you go, oh, it's better than, it just improved on the second one. Nope. It's way worse.
It's like 3 hours long, full price, and you regret every minute you ever played of that game.
So, it's always the case, but this game definitely is, like, bigger in every sense of the word. It's so much bigger than the first game was.
Yeah, it's definitely a step up. I noticed that already so far.
Yeah, I think off the bat, the story in the first one was easier to grasp because it's just a revenge story.
Revenge, kill all the people who killed your family.
Yeah, starts off, you get murdered, come back to life as like a spirit, and it's more of the sense of discovery as you're trying to work out like who Celebrimbor is and like, I guess, revenge plot and whatnot. Where this one, off the bat, you literally build a ring, which in turn saps away like Celebrimbor's powers, and Shelob, who in Tolkien's universe is not simply just a spider, it's just a spider, is now like a spiritual entity where she can like transform into a female form.
Well, I mean, technically Ungoyland, who is Shelob's mother, could transform into whatever.
Okay, dropping some Tolkien lore right there.
I looked it up when they first announced that she was a person. I was like, that doesn't sound right, but I'm gonna go look into it.
That's the thing. Like this game actually has a lot of lore in the sense of there are these objects you can find. There's like extra missions where they talk about like Gondorian history and all this, the rest of it. I'm like, this, I assuming is legit. Like it's all from Tolkien's like appendices or background information, whatever.
You would assume so, although they like to add a little of their own stuff every now and then.
Yeah, exactly. Like make it more. I don't know if I'd say more compelling, but like try and make it easier to grasp, so more full-fledged idea as opposed to maybe just like a like a note written down on a piece of paper or like whatever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this, Celebrimbor's like is split off. Shelob is essentially grabs your ring, which in turn saps away your power, and that's like, for me at least, that's the biggest negative off the bat, is that they do the cliche, and I expect it, every game does it.
Every game does it. They can't just make you all powerful.
Yeah, they take all your powers away instantly because you're basically lost. You put it in the ring, Shelob takes the ring, you get Celebrimbor back, and you have to like relearn all your mechanics from the first game.
Yeah, I think what they should have done there is just kept a lot of them in.
Yeah.
But they took off literally everything.
And the problem is they should have done a God of War, in my opinion. God of War does it, but God of War does it in such a badass way where you start off the game in like some ridiculously epic battle.
And then you fall all the way. Is this God of War 3 where you fall off Olympus?
God of War 3 and God of War 2. God of War 2, I actually like. God of War 3 is more epic, but God of War 2, I like the idea more where you are a god, and then you basically show up and you're like OP shit, and you got all your abilities from the first game, and then Zeus comes, kills you, and takes all your abilities away.
I want those back.
So, God of War for me is like the classic idea of that mentality, which is take it all away. Batman's like the ones who doesn't work too well, because like he's just like, he just hasn't brought the gadgets yet. He gets them later in the game. Like, it's kind of lazy, but okay.
It's lazy Batman. Batman's not lazy. Batman plots things.
This one they at least have the story in my mind kind of makes sense, but I would have liked at least the God of War idea with off the bat you do some cool epic stuff. But nah, you just cutscene, lose it all, and then essentially it's. Honestly, it is like tutorials for like the first, I'm like 7-8 hours before you get the domination ability. Just really open up this game or what it was in the first.
You practically get like, say Witcher 3, you get thrown into White Orchard, and then you're like, oh, I can work out how to play here, and then it throws you into the bigger world. That's what I think.
It's actually very much like Witcher, actually, when I think about it, that idea where keep it simple. But I think the problem is, for me at least, is if you play the first game, which most people probably have, it's familiar to that point. Basically, it's like, I've done all this before.
Yeah, there's nothing new in that initial bit. The bit I've played felt very like Shadow of Mordor. I mean, the game's obviously a sequel, but like it didn't feel like all the stuff they were showing is obviously later in the game because you're like the whole domination thing and all the orcs that follow like
it's a lot,
join you and hunt you and stuff.
I say it's a lot later than I expected. Like it was like by the time I have actually got to, I've done I think 2 fortress missions now. And by the way, they are awesome. I love the intro still. When you walk in with your giant orc army and you form your army up, it's very epic.
Yeah, so on the trailers it did look pretty cool.
But it takes a long time to get there. Like, I think it's probably 10 hours before you do your Force Fortress mission. Which is surprisingly long in my opinion. Like, that's the big new feature. There's a lot of other features too, but I think that's the most significant new one. And clearly it's a big part of the game, which you kind of like, after at that point, I'm like, okay, Fortress is like the main focus now, like doing a lot of Fortress stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that is something that does look impressive from what I've seen, and probably, I do want to try one of them, that's for sure.
Well, I said, if
little
you
bit
get
of a journey.
It's gonna take a while to get there. But at the same time, I think the Lord of the Rings lore helps. Like, you start off in
Minas Ithil,
which, for those who know anything about Lord of the Rings lore, so this isn't a spoiler, is that becomes Minas Morgul when the Witch King takes over. And it becomes the giant green pillar in the sky.
The big thing that shoots up in Return of the King.
You'll remember from Frodo and
Frodo starts walking down the bridge and then Gollum gets all like, don't do that, Frodo, that's bad.
Yeah. And it's conveniently close to where Shelob's lays, so it kind of connects up in a geographical way.
Very much so.
But it does take a while for that to happen, and you all got a while before that actually does happen from where you are. But that's still, like, as you said, it's like a prologue chapter. Like, that concludes the prologue chapter. Essentially, when that happens, that's the prologue done. And it takes a long time for it to happen.
Yeah. So, obviously, the Witch King rocks up.
Yeah, Witch King's rocking up. Have they mentioned the Witch King yet? Where you are?
They have not. I just know he's the theme.
Right, okay, yeah. I think where you are is like, the plot is basically find the Palantir because it gives us visions and we want it. Yeah. Things change.
And then
but
I know what happens with the result. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this doesn't go well.
That was only the beginning.
These humans are not long for this location.
No.
Good.
A new person moves in and...
But coming over from the story portion, more into like the Nemesis focus. I'm trying to think, in the first 2 hours, like, have you even encountered a Nemesis?
Yeah, there's light. It's like light. It's not done in the full way.
Right.
But there are, I did get ambushed, yeah.
I definitely like the ambush mechanic, just because there's so many times where you're just like doing shit, because I like doing all the side mission stuff, so I'm often just exploring the world, picking items up or whatever, and I'm just like running around picking stuff, and then out of nowhere, I'll just get ambushed, charged down while I'm picking up an item, and it's like, oh boy, what if
Hello, Ranger.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, this game you do want to do all the collecting stuff, because it's tied to a gear system.
Yeah, and the gear is actually very interesting in how they do it, and I initially I didn't like it, and I'm like, actually this kind of works, and that is, the gear is always your level. It's always your level. So you can always equip it. But it means that when you unlock things, like there are certain special gear that when you do there's a quest to basically unlock this special gear, it's at your level. Which, to me, initially I'm like, this sounds dodgy because it unlocks special abilities. And I'm like, well, what the hell does it happen when you get in the end of the game where this is just shit? Yeah. And until I realized how you make it better, and that is, they have multi-tier upgrades, and they have certain conditions to upgrade that gear. So one of the ones I'm thinking of, it'll be like, capture an orc of this level and from this tribe allegiance. And that gives you the next level upgrade, which suddenly might boost you from a level 10 gear, or a level 13, what level you were when you got it, to the next tier, which would be level 20. So it's only a level 20 gear object.
Okay, so I wonder how high that scales up.
From the items I've been seeing, I don't know what the max level is. It might be no max level. You just can keep going. But in terms of abilities and I think the key upgrades and weapons, I think 50 is like the end. I think
50 sounds like a good cap to me, but it's not, because they say like these. Oh well, that doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah. To me, it seems like a good endpoint for the gear as well. Where it's not unrealistic, but I don't think they'll cap your character level. I think yours will cap it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a max level,
but the Nemesis system I think is a lot better also because of the uniqueness of a lot of the orcs now. There's so many orcs, so many, and not just in their personalities. Like there's a lot of those. Well, I don't think I've encountered the same personality twice, and I've seen a hell of a lot of orcs at this point.
Game's full of orcs.
But the visuals and the abilities they have associated with them are also very unique and different. Like, in this podcast, we've like constantly bringing out the different tribe trailers they've had. And in the game, it's the same thing. Where it's like you just go, oh, this is from that tribe, who's very distinctly different looking, and they have inherently different abilities in what they are. Not just like in the first game, it was like, oh, this guy's a beast rider. And this guy,
This guy's an assassin, and this guy's a
yeah,
warrior.
where this one's like, oh, I'm a beast rider from the machine tribe, where I've got like all these kunai with chain abilities or something. And this guy's like, oh, I'm from the mystic tribe, and I've got like possession abilities or something. I'll curse weapons and that kind of stuff. So it adds a lot to the uniqueness of the character. So you're more likely to like want to collect certain ones. You're like, oh, I really want this.
Gotta catch them all.
Just because the ability, like, oh man, I like the idea that this orc has, or something like that long line. But there was one nemesis I encountered that he wasn't really my nemesis, but he became one just because how many times I killed him in a span of like a couple of hours. And that was this guy called, I think it was called originally like Zorka the Machine. And he just became more and more machine every time he came back. And I think I killed him like 5 times. Like, no joke, like 5 times. I killed the first time and he was like nothing back then. And then he came back like, oh, you remember me? I'm more machine now than orc.
I'm more machine now than man.
And then I killed him. I'm like, okay, he still wasn't that strong. And then he came back again, with like half his body gone. I'm like, well, okay, this is interesting. And then he came back again. He was like full on cyborg. He'd like all machine with like 2 eye holes. I'm like, oh, this is interesting.
Lord Vader. Just Darth Vader appears.
But that was the thing I'm saying, because it takes so long to get the domination ability, I'm like, man, I really want this guy to join my team now. Just because how many times I've seen him. But I didn't have it, and I haven't seen him since
So he's not dead.
What I think they explained this game is that in the first game, the nemesis idea was like the one that killed you the most, which most of the time, I think for me, I think I died once in the original game. So it was just the first guy that killed me, and he was the guy like at the end of the game was like, oh, this is your nemesis. I'm like, he wasn't really.
Yeah, I died to the guy, like back in the original, like I killed by this. He was immune to so much stuff, and he was poisoned, and I'd always die to him.
Yeah, the hardest one in this game for me normally is the ones that, because often I do get downed, but there's ones that if you get downed, they kill you instantly. Those are normally the hardest ones for me, because I'm like, damn it, now I can't reflect it back or whatever.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to get back up from that one.
Yeah, but I hope he shows up again, because I really want to capture him now and put him on my team.
Yeah, you can have Darth Vader on your team. Makes a good teammate, good at killing Jedi.
Yeah, and it's also like region based, so it's like you capture orcs in different areas, and they give you well, they're like the benefit in that area. So those orcs are the ones who are forming in that area, and they, as far as I can tell, unless it unlocks later, you can't move them between locations.
Okay, so they're stuck there, which kind of seems a bit sad because you might be leaving your favorite orc to.
That's I'm leaving because Bruce. I have seen Bruce. In fact, Bruce is like he is the rat bag from this game, where he's a key character.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I can actually put him even on my forces in that area yet, because I don't. Maybe you have to do all he's got his own side quests. I wonder if you have to do his quests, before that happens. But he's the one who like explains to you literally what Ratbag did in the first one, which was like, this is how you dominate people, and this is how you attack a fortress. This is how you
dominate people here in Shadow of War.
Yeah, he literally calls someone a drongo at some point. I'm like, yeah, they're really sticking in this.
They're not even stopping.
He's great. He's my favorite though. Like I'm like, oh man, I want him to be my personal bodyguard everywhere I go in this game.
I'll point out that he's not voiced by an Australian.
Well, and it doesn't really surprise me because he's got too thick an accent. Like it's like put on.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But his personality is like so cool. I'm like, man, I really want Bruce to just be with me on every like,
you just want to? Do they want to do just a spin-off game where he plays him?
I would be really cool actually if they some kind of expansion or idea where it's like you get to play an orc instead of like Talion and Celebrimbor, like it's just an orc. You're just going around as Bruce or something.
Let's get orky.
That would be cool. But yeah, we're enjoying it. The other thing that is also a big improvement is the locations. I think I've seen most of the mainish locations in the sense of like this is the big areas you can explore and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the visual diversity is so much greater than what the first one was. Like the first one had like, I blew off my head 2 areas, and one was just Mordor, as you've always seen, just
Mordor,
dirt
and
everywhere.
one was the kind of grassy area.
It was grassy Mordor. It was like the same thing, but it's more grass around. Where this one does classic like video game stuff, where it's like, oh, here's the icy region, and here's the fire region.
I mean, fire region makes sense. Don't know about ice region.
Yeah, there's a snow landscape. There's also like water. Like waterfall, islandy looking place. They definitely nail these visuals, which for me it's like, as you said, I don't know if it makes sense for Mordor.
It doesn't, but it makes it like, imagine if it was just the barren landscape from like the movie that we saw, it's just all ash.
Yeah,
and...
they did what they needed to do, and also it's set before Lord of the Rings, so they just explain away as, Sauron hasn't like cultivated all this land yet, so it's still fresh looking.
Yeah, so he hasn't come back and gone, let's burn it all down.
And they do put their visual flares on it, because it's still like the orcs are taking over. So there's still like very Saruman-looking areas where it's like all the trees are gone and it's just like a giant fortress sitting there or whatever.
Yeah.
Big, that kind of is. But definitely impressed with the visuals overall.
But it doesn't look like a huge step up, like, visually in terms of characters and stuff.
Not visuals, and definitely the facial mocap. I think some of the key characters look okay. I don't actually like the humans that much. You've seen them, like, in Mythil, like, the female and the leader of that area. Yeah. They look passable, but they're not excellent.
Yeah, it's got two of the really good people who know how to use mocap. You got Talion, voiced by Troy Baker, and you've got the Gondor lady, voiced by Laura Bailey.
Right, yeah.
So they're like they do mocap all the time, and so it's like I don't know what they've done with that, but
I think Talion's the best visual character. Like that's not touchy. Like I do think Shield looks pretty good too. Like there are some characters that are good, but in general, the game's got a lot of jankiness to it. Like, but I think it's kind of you just don't care that much.
Yeah, it's okay in big world games where there's like a little bit of
and because it's so freeing, like you can climb anything that they want you to climb. You can climb in this game. There's no restriction at all. You just climb. It's basically like a Breath of the Wild. So it's like, you can climb to whatever.
Yeah, without a stamina system where you just climb it.
Yeah, just go nuts. And then they just restrict, like, this is clearly the map. You can't go beyond where the map wants you to go. But otherwise, you can climb it. Like, there's pits later where, like, in the snow area, like, I'm on the Calibor, like, riding around, and it's just a giant ice mountain. I'm like, can I climb that mountain? Yes, I can. And he just runs up this giant ice mountain.
Just climbing it.
So I definitely like the freeing aspect of that, but because it's so freeing, like often when you're killing orcs and stuff, like the animations can often look horrible in the sense of like just really weird looking. It's like, oh, I'm slashing him, I've attacked his arm in the death animation, but his head like flown off or something.
Well, I must have knocked that off somewhere along the way.
But the original game did that too, so it's not really surprising. It's literally a trade-off to make it as compelling as it is in the Nemesis idea and just fun to play.
Yeah,
they have to make it just look janky.
They focus on gameplay and like over anything else, all the systems combined to create the fun experience, which is what Shadow of the War wants to be, rather than like, well,
as opposed to like
we've got
Uncharted
professional voice. Yeah. Well, like mocap, they look real guys. It's like that's not the point. The point is the orcs are like the star of the show, so make them as compelling as you can.
And once again, like, beat a dead horse, like, because it takes so long to get there, I just wish it was quicker to get to this Nemesis idea. Like, it's the strongest bit in the first game. It takes too long, in my opinion. That's the weakest aspect, I think.
Yeah, it takes too long in the first game, but by the time I got there, I was like, I don't care anymore.
It was new. That game was new, in my opinion, though. So, like, you hadn't done it before. With this one, I'm like, it takes like 10 hours to get to the point I was already at in the last game. I'm like, I wish I just got here faster.
Yeah, true, but it's all about their length. Like, they're going for making this a big, beefy, long game with lots to do, I think.
Yeah, lots of stuff in general. Yeah. But for me, I mean, I'm definitely continuing playing. Like, I'm seeing it through the end. I really like it. I think, I don't know about you, Mitch. You got to continue playing it, or?
I haven't put enough time in. I'm going to put in a bit more and see. But I don't. As far as open worlds with lots of collecting stuff, that's just where you lose me.
Yeah, that's normally like I love that stuff. Like, it's just like a checklist mentality where it's like it's not too big. I like games that are big but not too big. Witcher was probably the biggest like branch off for me. I'm like, I really want to collect everything, but there's just so much. I think I still did most of it.
I collected every little thing in that game, and I hate collecting stuff.
But Witcher was like the borderline too much, and Breath of the Wild was way too much. I'm like, I don't care. It's just too much. I don't want to do it. Yeah. But they were borderline absurd, like the choruses. Where this I felt like is the right mixture. So I often like collecting everything. So that's what I'm kind of doing. Focus on that. Get those new abilities or whatever the lore and other stuff they kind of give you. Yeah. But yes, other than that, nothing else we really want to talk about or add to our discussion.
No, but yeah, I'm gonna play a bit more. See where it goes. But...
Cool.
See you soon.
Not listening.